Let's see here. That's at a weird angle, isn't it? That'll work. Let's see who the first person in is. I'm gonna have to move something. Hang on a second, guys. Four people. Who's here? Phil. Well, there's a couple things. I haven't done a feed or anything for a little while, and I'll explain why. I had these big ideas of what I was gonna do. That's not working either. Hang on a second, guys. I gotta check something. I just got a notification. All right, I'm back. I just wanted to check that notification. So guys, I told you I'd let you know when it happened. Now it actually happened Wednesday. I just have not been in any mood to do a live feed or a video or anything. And I'll tell you why when we get done with this. But prototypes are here. So this is my prototype from Wii. This is the one with the marble carbon fiber handle. So this is the prototype of the Wii Hornet. What's up, Barry? So this is what they're gonna look like. The only issue I see with these, I think the handles are a little thin. I think we're gonna have to add a little bit, not much. I think the handles need to be maybe a millimeter thicker to make this like 1 millimeter thicker across the back. It feels good, but it could feel better if the handles were a little bit thicker. So I'm pretty sure that we talked about doing it in M390. This is my prototype. They are in S35VN as the prototype, which that's still not bad. There are two of these. Matt currently has the other one. So one is marble carbon fiber, which really looks good. And then the other one is shredded carbon fiber that reflects a lot more. So, and like I said, they come with a blade, a sheath that does have a Tech Lock style clip. We set these up for horizontal because I'm not gonna lie to you, I've gotten to a point where I don't like carrying a fixed blade vertical. So this way you can carry it horizontal. So you can either cross draw it or you can flip it and you can put it on your sheath. I don't know the price yet. That's what I'm telling you. Guys, I have nothing to do with the marketing, price setting, anything. All I do is I'm reviewing the design to make sure that they are staying true to designed. That's the only reason I even got prototypes. I could have just told them, you guys run with it. Here you go. But I wanted to make sure that the quality, since it's going to have my logo on it, reflects what I wanted. So yeah, these came nice. We compared it to Matt's Hornet that I made for him, which is the one we took the blade dimensions off. I actually think that there's 3 of them out there that were ground just about perfect. Because, you know, grinding a knife by hand, your dimension's gonna be a little bit different. So what we did was we took the dimensions that I really liked on Matt's and Jesse's and combined that to come up with an aggregate of the 2 that I had. And then I remembered what the one that I had made behind the blade was for one of the original prototypes. And so they came out nice and thin behind the edge, but they are nice and thick. They kept at the tip. They've a nice thick tip that comes up, so it's a little more material at the tip. We left it that way, the same way that I did the others, so that you've got all of that from there to there that is nice and thin and sharp. And then for the dummies that are gonna pry on stuff, it's gonna be a lot harder to break that tip. The sheaths actually are really good. I think they're vacuum forming these. They lock in. There's no rattle, there's no play. And the thing is, they're consistent enough. We've taken the knives back and forth. It doesn't matter which sheath you put it in. So I'm figuring that all the sheaths are gonna be exactly the same and stuff like that. Now, we'll tell you, I'm not trying to get them to when they come out, if you guys want the soft loop sheaths that Matt has, they're a little easier to carry. They're not quite as bulky, and he does the soft loops, really comfortable, and it allows you can cant it different directions. So you can do it horizontal, but you can tip it down, you can kind of get it up, and you can tighten it down on your belt. This still is gonna dig into your side a little bit. That's the only issue I see with that Tech Lock style sheath, but they sit cross draw carry pretty well. I had it on yesterday. It's got the push button, and then you can adjust for, nice thing about these is, you can take this piece out and adjust for your belt thickness. So if you've got a thinner belt that you're trying to run that through, and it locks in there nice and tight, then you can adjust for the belt thickness. And so I've got it set up because I've got a fairly wide belt. I think you could take this, you could take it pretty much all the way out and get yourself duty belt size. So if you're wanting to have one of these to carry. So I don't know release date. I do know I want them to add some material to the sheaths, or to the handles. I'll probably have to go through another batch of prototypes to see how they feel. Unless they can just, because these are removable, I think they are glued on, but I think that I could just take these off if they send me another set of handles and see how they feel adding another millimeter to the overall thickness, so 0.5 millimeter to each. Which 0.5 millimeter is not very much. It's not very much at all. Matt and I did some math. We were kind of high. We watched Star Wars. We smoked a bunch of weed and watched Star Wars last night. So here's the other side of this. The other reason that I have not done a video. You guys remember I kept talking that my friend Yakov was coming and we had a bunch of stuff planned, and that we had, he had kind of brokered a deal on and stuff like that. He was pretty much going to sponsor my daughter's ice skating. Well, Yakov was, and so I'm not 100% sure what happened. I don't know if, there's a lot of things that could happen. So there's like 4 things that could have happened. And the 4th option is one that I despise the thought of because I really like the guy. So he could, and is in a hospital somewhere. That's an option. He could have gotten really sick and not even left the country and just can't get me. 3rd option is that maybe he passed away. It happens. People die on planes and shit. And the 4th option is all this about sponsoring my daughter, and he was going to give me money for the business, and he was coming, and we were going to do all this stuff. It could have been an elaborate scam, like not scam, but like trick, like playing a trick on somebody. And you guys haven't done anything. You guys haven't shared any money or any of that. Some people just like to play sick, twisted jokes on people. So I've been pretty down about, because here's the thing. He was supposed to start today sponsoring my daughter's ice skating. Now, you guys know I hate to do this. I hate doing this, but you guys know I have that GoFundMe, and it could be my YouTube or my internet. If it's lagging for everybody, I apologize. I'm not saying I want every one of you guys to donate to my YouTube or to my daughter's GoFundMe, but if you could at least share it. I'm trying to figure out what we're gonna do. That was the whole, to an account for my daughter for ice skating, and if that doesn't happen, I don't know what we're gonna do. I'm working as hard as I can. I am looking for a job, but I can't take that from her. So if you guys can find it in you to go down and at least share the GoFundMe or donate, that would be amazing. That was the whole point of that GoFundMe. We set it at $10,000 because that was pretty much what we figured was a safe bet as to covering the majority of the heavy cost of her ice skating. There's a lot of stuff that that's going to be separate from, but we've gotten $1,400 or $1,200 on that GoFundMe. So I'm really conflicted about this. I don't like asking for help, but that's just where we're at this point. Business has not been great. My mother is going to help. She already took an honest request part of this. So if you could find it in you to just share it, at least. I'll put it in once this goes up live, I'll put it in, but it's in most of my other videos. Just go into the description. There's a link to the GoFundMe. But, so there's that. Let's see, what else? Yeah, the prototypes, we're gonna play around with them. I might make a 1 millimeter or a 0.5 millimeter spacer and see what adding a millimeter to that. They're not that thin. So is anybody else having a lot of lag like they said before? So I'm so conflicted and upset about that I started sweating, like asking you guys for that. It is so uncomfortable that I'm sweating, like literally. I'm soaked in sweat. It's embarrassing to admit that you don't have anything to fall back on because you started a business. So, but it's a good business. So yeah, Matt and I did Matt and I did a little bit of math on these to figure out what the original Hornet handles looked like and the Wii Hornet handles and what the difference was between Matt's handles and these handles, because there was this difference as well, because these blades are not as the sheath I'm talking about. So you can see there's but this sheath sits so much differently and it's so much thinner because it doesn't have that tech lock. So you can see there's a blade, there's a distinct blade thickness difference between the two. But I mean, overall, it stayed pretty true to form from what I make by hand and what we is putting out. And it's got jimps, all the jimps. So those ones aren't as aggressive as they might look because the handle actually covers over a little bit. And so you get as bitey and nasty as it looks. But still you get grip in that reverse grip. Now, the only thing I'm thinking is, while these are really attractive, no, I don't know yet, David. But while these handles are really attractive, this was designed as a military style, like utility knife that also fits the combat purpose if you need it to. I think I want more grip on that. So either we go with the carbon fiber and do checkering, or that's exactly what I was gonna say, G10. Or we offer it in both. That would be the suggestion I would make to them. It's like, if maybe there'll be 2 different price points. Maybe do the S35 VN with G10 and M390, or we do 2 handle options in 2 different steels. I don't know. I told them that I thought it would be cool to have a couple price point options, and they seem to be okay with it, but I don't know which way they're gonna go. I mean, they might not wanna do a run with 2, but like, you could feasibly have 2 different price points for the different handle materials, because carbon fiber is, I love micarta, but they don't have it. That's what these handles are. This is black linen micarta. No, I'm sorry, it's black canvas micarta, and I like it a lot. I've got really big hands, so thicker handles for me is a good thing. These would be okay if they were just a little thicker. Now, if I had smaller hands, but I want to get in the middle, and Matthew's knife, the handles that I put on his, came out just about the thickness I would want. And so I think that's what I'm gonna recommend, is we're gonna measure Matthew's handles and make that the recommendation for the thickness on these. We just didn't take the handles off. So we did some measurements, but we could have taken the handles off of his, but it's just, sometimes it's a pain in the ass to take these handles off. Because the way I use the barrels in them. But you can see, I mean, they are, I mean, basically, the bigger choil's a little bit more standard. Well, I guess they're about, shit, dude, they're almost the rear thumb ramp. So we decided we wanted to do a prettier, almost like a swept plunge on these. It just looks good. I like the textured sheaths that Matt does. This one looks sharper? What do you mean, like, how do you mean it looks sharper? I mean, the blade shape is near identical. It is identical. Are you talking the point is sharper? That could just be because the way... Oh yeah, it's because this one already has an edge on it. So blade length on the prototype. Hold on just a second. Is that a inches? No, that's millimeters. Let me go grab my ruler, guys. Hang on, I'll tell you. Well, my ruler escaped. So let me grab this one. You can do it in millimeters. It's centimeters. So this is, because my wife's Japanese, her rulers aren't in freedom units. So blade length on this is 9, 10, and 10 centimeters. So 10.7 millimeter, or 10.7 centimeters. 10.7 centimeters. Anybody knows what that is in inches? That'd be great. And I'm gonna tell you right now, the dimensions on this and this are going to be almost identical because these were done in water jet. And so they might be a couple millimeters off knives, but they pretty much are all the same size. So, Yakov, if you're watching this, please get in touch with me. At least let me know what's going on. I mean, if it was a big joke, then yeah, I'm gonna be really fucking pissed, but not knowing is even worse. Do you guys want to know what the overall is so that somebody can do the conversion? So from tail to tip, it is 23.5 centimeters. 23.5 centimeters. From tip to tip. It is comfortable in hand. It's with it being narrow, it makes these feel way sharper than they actually are. I will tell you, I did a lot of cutting with this. I was making some for some of the veg prep. That's about right, yeah, 9.2 inches. I think that's what we measured it at. I've got the drawings somewhere, the original drawings. So, but yeah, same thing, removable hardware. The removable hardware is, as opposed to something just being pinned, which actually is cheaper and easier. The idea was because I did design this for like a combat knife kind of purposes, and you know that you get in some nasty situations. So you get into some nasty situations like in the field where you're going to be wet and rained on and you sweat. Okay, so we used to do training at a place called Camp Elliott. It's an offshoot from Miramar Air Base, but they have all kinds of campsite areas where you can do campsite setup. And what we would do is we'd do a campsite setup, and then we would practice detainee ops and things like that, and how we would set up a remote campsite, like if we were deployed somewhere. And because our unit was a mobile detachment, it was bottom rung of the Special Forces ladder. It was actually kind of cool because I got to see how some of that worked. I never got to go to some of the training that I wanted to and things like that. And it was something cool. I got to see where they would take like regular Navy guys and get them trained up to take some of the duties away from the SEALs. That there was like low-hanging fruit, and it was like all low-hanging fruit stuff that the SEALs and the Marines shouldn't be having to do, that like regular Navy guys could be trained to do. But so we had a VBSS unit where they had fast rope and Hearstmaster, and they could basically embark onto a ship. Well, at any rate, what I was saying was, you go to those campsites and you're out there for 3 days. There's no running water. You're wiping off with baby wipes, and then you get back and you realize how fucked up your gear is. And something that is easy to clean, like you can take it apart, because what happens is moisture does get under those scales. Especially, like people are like, you epoxied it, and it still gets under. And then you get corrosion, and next thing you know, it detracts from the life of your knife. When I try to take these off, I'm gonna play around with them later and maybe take the scales. Well, now I got my tools. I got my tools here. Hang on a second, let me grab them. We'll take the scales off of these guys. Okay, maybe we won't. I think I left my tools at Matt's house. I went to Matt's house yesterday, and I think there's a chance I left my toolkit at his house, so I'll definitely get a hold of him. I left it on his counter. I took it with me, and I forgot everything. I left everything, I mean, I got everything picked up except that, so I don't have my toolkit here to take them off, but I'll get them off, and I'll just see. The other thing, too, is the reason it's nice to be able to take the scales off. A lot of times, especially with a handmade knife, same reason. Oh, somebody asked me, okay, wait, let me go back. Somebody asked me about an AD-15. Hey, Mick, you never got back to me on Instagram about the AD-15. You're not interested. If you're not interested, I'm probably going to start modding it. I would love to see it. I thought I responded back to you that, yes, I would love to see it before, so I can see it stock. So if you want to do that, that would be great. I just don't know when I'll be able to get back to you because the cost of shipping is something I can't afford at the moment. I have stuff I need to ship, but I got paid to ship that. So, and I'm not going to ask you to pay me to ship it back to you because I'm using it as a review. So if you send it to me, it might be a couple weeks before I even get to it. I still have a whole big bag of Matt stuff that I haven't even got to yet. So, but no, what I was saying is a hand finished knife. A lot of times the finish underneath the scales isn't the same as the rest of the knife. Now on mine they're gonna be because like this, I did a 120 grit satin and stuff like that. So, you know, I have a differential satin, so that goes all the way down the scale. My maker's mark is under there. But the thing is, a lot of times knives will be coarser finish under here because a lot of times guys are just focusing on the forward part of the blade. They'll finish it after they make handles. I don't. I finish the whole thing and then put the handles on after. So I'm not like Jim. So Jim Skelton did a video where he did his handles and everything and all of his polish, and then he did his grinding. I don't necessarily do that. I'll get partway into my grinding where I can see that I'm getting my lines where I want them and my angles are good, and then I will stop and I'll do the surface finish, then finish grinding. And then I can go back and forth. Like say maybe I get my angle wrong and I get into my finish on that. Well, I can just go back and I just surface grind it again because then I can marry these lines up. It's when it gets down to the finish part, like I'm finished grinding it entirely, so I'm done, that I've got to be careful because if you get to a point where you're pretty much done with the knife and then you refinish this, it makes these lines look off. And I believe that the lines on this one look a little off because I think I did that. I had to take off some material on the spine, so one side looks longer than the other, and it's just because one, they're hand ground, so the angles aren't going to be exact, and two, I refinished the flats really close to the time that I got this done because I got a hiccup into the, I got a hiccup down into my flat. So I like the 120 grit because it gives you a much more consistent, less faceted scratch pattern than you would get on a 220. 220 gets shiny spots because of the way the material is, the metal. That wasn't necessarily the point, but I do appreciate it very much. And when are you gonna send me that touch knife so I can sharpen it and put it on the channel? Because the last one you sent me, I didn't feel comfortable. I told Will that too when I got ready to send it to him, because went to the Portland show. No, that wasn't you, Chris, that was Eric. Or was it you, Chris? Anyway, one of the two guys, Eric or Chris, the New Yorkers that were there, they bought a touch knife and sent it home with me to sharpen, and I got around to sharpening it, and there was an issue with the lock, and I knew we could fix it, but I didn't feel comfortable doing a review video of a very expensive knife and calling them out on a problem. So what would happen is, when I started sharpening it, I realized that if I put pressure on a spine, I could pop the lock over it, and it would just basically, the liner would slip and it would shut. And so I got a hold of the owner, and then we got a hold of Chris around his telling. He's like, there's a possibility that, he's like, it just, you know, maybe in the rush to get ready for a show, I didn't spine whack tested it a couple times, and he goes, yeah, I should. He's like, I wish. He's like, yeah, I'm glad you didn't do a video. And I was like, it's an amazing knife. It's gorgeous. It's all handmade. And so I sent it directly to them. They sent it directly to Eric. That's who it was Eric. And after we got it to them, Eric said it was perfect. So he said he didn't have any problems with it, but I had already sharpened it. Their touch knife, right, Chris? I just have, it's not, this isn't just like I'm showing it off. I'm trying to get a feel for, do I want to thicken the handles? Because when you get like this, and you get your thumb up on the back ramp, which is what that's designed for, it's real comfortable. Like you could really, I could really do a lot of work with this comfortably. But the thing is, if it's too thin, then your hands fatigue. And then you can always get, like when you get up above on that, yeah, that's really, you get up in the forward choil, and then, like I said, that ramp was designed so that you could kind of, that was my thought process, is it acted like another handle, so you could do super fine detail work, coarse cutting, stab somebody in the fucking helmet, pop their dome like a balloon. So 16 people, we've lost some people. So yeah, that's, like I said, I know I didn't do very many videos this week. That's the cardinal sin of having a business where your primary stuff goes on YouTube, like all of your advertising, how you draw people in. If you don't put up content, you're not gonna, I mean, that's what keeps the interest. So video I put up, I think was Monday. It was a pretty good video. You guys seemed to like it. It was a live feed that we did. It was that, I was fixing that, either Monday or Tuesday. I was fixing that ZT that had the really, really super thin edge. And like I said, when I was telling you guys, that it's not that that knife wasn't sharp. That's a really thick blade. They did a really thin edge, and it was so thin with no material to support it that I could push the edge and roll it. Even 204P, which is M390, 20 CV, it's basically the same thing. I could push that edge over with my thumbnail, and then when I rubbed my thumbnail down it, you could feel where that had deformed the edge. And so all I did was I steepened the whole angle, and then I thinned it at the very edge, at the very apex, back to kind of that same, but the whole thing is, yeah, it's really thin at the apex, but it's got that material behind it to support it. And so then I did a beard hair test, and it was just treetop and beard hairs. So I was like, yeah, that's a good one. So, because we roll the bags down and then put a clip on them. They're clipped up inside. Okay. I mean, that box top is not, there's my sexy wife. Say hi to everybody, sexy wife. Yeah, that means no, not going. Okay. Are you putting hot water on dried out baby wipes? Works for me. Phil said hi. Just wave at everybody, go, hi. That's all you have to do. You don't have to be hi. Chris said hi, Chris Kelly. You don't know any of these people, do you? I had to make a tool. Hey, Dwayne. I was showing everybody the prototype. I showed Dwayne pictures. I sent Dwayne some pictures of it. But like, I don't know how clearly you can see the finish on it. It's a good, here, I'll turn this around, hang on. I'll turn it around for you, get a good view. So, wait, let me see. That lens is dirty. So basically, it's got a nice fine stone wash. This is the marble carbon fiber, flat top screws, so that they're not chamfered around. They're nice and clean. It's a nice clean look. I like of the two, I like the marble carbon fiber. Matthew has the other one. There is my logo. That is my father's handwriting. We scanned it off of an old knife that I had that he engraved my initials off of, or engraved my initials on. And then this is the We logo, W-E-W. And this is a good, I guarantee somebody got a raise for this logo, because no matter how you turn it, you're always going to see We, W-E. What was that? Playing poker. That looks amazing, Mike. You should be proud, buddy. I'm proud of you. Thank you, Dwayne. Good luck playing poker. Dwayne is at a big poker game where I think he said it's like $200 buy-in. So yeah, I wanted to stay pretty true to the made ones, but I can't do like the jimping. I could probably do it on a mill, but it's such a pain. I've seen it done, and then the thing is too, you got to do it while the metal's still soft, and then I would have to clean up because the heat treat coloring would go down in there, so it would be really hard to do a satin on something that had the jimping, and then it's just there's so much time involved with making sure that they're consistent and even. So when Elliot and I sat down to render it, he was like, "Do you want some jimping?" And I was like, "Yeah." And so he just did. It's milled in, so it's perfect. It's exactly the same distance apart, and it's checkering file style jimping. And if it's like a medium type use knife, that's great. But this was designed for possibility that I'm fucking bloody, and my hands are all bloody and nasty, and I won't want to slip. And I can get a hold of it like this if I've got to do some heavy push like into something. You guys know what I'm talking about. Someone. And so that jimping's a little heavier. I'm trying, guys. I'm trying, guys. I don't know, my Wi-Fi, it's not the Wi-Fi necessarily. It's the connection to the house. So no, I have not seen anything from Bone Tactical. Never physically held one. So don't know whether they're junk or not. So, like I said, guys, it's been just pretty depressing. I don't know what's going on with that guy. And like I said, all kinds of promises were made as to supporting my daughter's skating and all that. So it's just kind of depressing. I mean, I was sick about it. Like, if this guy played a joke, why would you do something like that? But then I was like, I don't know. That doesn't seem like something it was too in-depth, like our conversations, and too specific about things that he already had done and had set up. So it just seems, I don't know. But if it's true that was a big joke, I'm kind of screwed a little bit because I hedged my bets on him doing it. Go back and watch it. I don't want to get back into it. It's pretty depressing, and I don't want to have to go through that fucking whole thing again. It makes me sick. Not knowing, and then the thoughts that run through your head, like, this guy just played a joke. This guy was just joking. He's not actually giving me that money. He's not actually coming. He didn't even get on a fucking plane. That's the things that run through your head, especially when, like, it's something that you're like, holy crap, I really need this. I really need this boost. And my daughter was, like, all about... No, I said that at the beginning. I have nothing... Okay, so anybody that joined, these prototype knives, I have nothing to do with the price setting, the marketing. No, this was a friend of mine named Yakov. Completely different. I have nothing that... You missed something somewhere. So, I have nothing to do with the marketing, the price setting. All I'm doing is reviewing the design to make sure it meets my standards. So, yeah, I don't know what they're going to price them at. I don't know that they may stick with S35VN, which is that's a pretty robust deal. But that's what I was going to say. Most of their knives are around $200, and this wasn't meant to be like a budget line knife. This is a substantial outdoors knife. Dwayne Yakov, Jakov. Yes, that's his name. Not Jakov. He's from Croatia. That's how you pronounce it. So anyway, like I said, this was meant to be an outdoors knife. Dwayne uses his all the time. Most of the guys that I've talked to have used theirs a lot, and they like the design. It's comfortable. So I just wanted to make sure that it stayed true to form. So, like I said, there's two of them. Matt's got the other one. I've got some pictures that I'm going to post up on Instagram. And then I figure that I'm going to have to get another set, like, to review. At least one to review with the thicker handles. Or, like I said, they could send me some new handles that are a little bit thicker. Hopefully the hardware fits. That would be what I would go with. Is they don't have to be a ton thicker. Just enough to the way it wants to rock in your hand a little bit. I want it to sit. I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. So I hold this one. it sits perfectly flat and straight the way I want. This one curves because it's thinner. It curves over a little bit. See that knuckle and see how the blade, so indexing and addressing that knife, it feels different when it's got thicker handles. You can get a little bit more. Or I just tell them to leave the back flat and not chamfer it as much, because this is completely domed over and chamfered over. So I don't know if you can see that. They don't do micarta. They do G10 and they do carbon fiber. They don't do micarta. Micarta is fucking expensive. It really is. I bought all that micarta for the customs, and they're not fucking cheap. It was not cheap. That might be part of it. Like my handles, I only chamfer. My handles are pretty flat, and I only chamfer down and get that to where it's like a good thickness there, and it's thinner here than it is here and here. That might be part of it. It might just be that they need to do a gradual taper. So if this kicks off again, just know, you guys, that if the internet kicks off again, I'm going to be done. So anybody else got any questions about them? Like I said, if these do come out, they're going to come out probably with this style sheath. You can turn it horizontal carry, but I would definitely recommend that if you want something that sits flatter, that getting Matt Braley at you get Matt over at Artist Carry to make them, and they come out great. They come out really good. So anybody else got anything? 16 people. Oh, let me see. Do I have this set up right? I might not have it set up right. Guys, I apologize if looks great, Mike. Most knives usually $200. Oh, my bad. Okay, I was just making sure I didn't miss anything, because I had it set for top chat only as opposed to live chat. So, Yakov, if you're watching this, get in touch with me. I need to know. I have to know what's going on. What, micarta? Yeah, because it's a labor-intensive thing. You got to put layers, and then it has to be epoxied. A lot of times it comes out and it's warped, and it's hard to do. Micarta is way more expensive. Carbon fiber is expensive too. Can we get them done in 3V? No, not making them in 3V. I mean, if you wanted one in 3V and you bought the material, I'd make one for you in 3V when I get done with the rest of them. So, I mean, you'd have to purchase the material, a piece of 3V in that size. You know what would be good is M4. M4 comes out stupid sharp. Well, so does 20CV, but I love this thing. It's in my pocket. Any other questions? Anybody got anything else? Questions from the class? No. No. This is Sean Houston, Big Brown Bear, and I still disagree. I don't. He loves Maximet and Rex 121, and I mean that's great. He can love it. I don't. I think, and the big thing is because it's so time intensive for me to sharpen it, it'd be a waste. I would actually lose money trying to sharpen, you know, Rex 121 or Maximet. I've seen how long it takes for somebody to. I'm like, if I have to change everything and retool everything that I'm doing, then it doesn't make any sense for me to do it. And then we're gonna do a video about that. I'm probably gonna do the video about this right after this live feed, like an actual video. Oh, my daughter has ice skating competition. Stand by, I'll be videotaping that. There definitely will be a video of that. Trip, we're going to Anaheim, so it's not like long of a road trip. It's about an hour drive. Yeah, I'm in so since Wednesday, I've been kind of in a depression funk, because it feels like I've been betrayed. I can't say for certain that I have, but we're talking, somebody said, well, maybe he got stuck up in immigration and customs, because he was bringing me a bunch of stuff, but he also had said he was bringing a set of, I sent him the size and everything for a set of my daughter's on those, and that's something else we really didn't have the money for. He was gonna buy them for as a gift. We were like, that's fucking great. And he was bringing them, and he's like, we signed a deal for this and this. He's like, so when something good happens, I want to do something good for somebody else. He's like, I want to sponsor your daughter. And I was like, dude, that's amazing. And then he was coming, and we were gonna party and have fun. And so Wednesday morning, I show up at the airport at like 7 because he said he'd be here at 6:30. I'm like, that's enough time to get your bags and stuff. Nothing. Hung out at the airport, waited, checked. The flight landed. And then I looked, and I was like, well, I'll stick around. And then there was another flight at like noonish. I'm like, well, maybe he missed that one. And so I showed up at the airport because, you know, he's coming from Europe. His cell phone might not work. And I'm like, okay, cool. But they have Wi-Fi. I figured he'd get in touch with me. Nothing. And I was like, okay, there's a flight later tonight. And so I fucking slept on the couch waiting for calls and stuff. And I mean, but here's the thing. There was no financial gain for him to do this. And so anyway, I slept on the couch so that in case he called, I could go and I wasn't going to disturb my wife, who she's been sick all week and everything. And I was like, okay. And then I thought, okay, he said 5:30, but maybe he meant 5:30 Thursday morning. Woke up early, got dressed so I could be on hot standby. Nothing. Didn't hear anything. And then everybody was like, well, maybe he got stuck in customs, immigration. It's Saturday. He was supposed to be here Wednesday morning. So like I said, one of 4 things has happened. He's real sick and in the hospital and can't get to his phone. He got really sick and couldn't leave the country and is stuck in a hospital in Europe. You know, that's the first option. 2, he got arrested. Who knows? Maybe he brought some illicit stuff that he didn't know he wasn't supposed to bring. He might be in jail in New York. Who knows? 3, he's dead. Or 4, he catfished me. Which, considering I have had no contact since Wednesday morning when I talked to him because he was going to leave. So he was supposed to be here Thursday morning. Wednesday morning when he said he was at the airport and he was going from Zagreb to New York, and he was just not even getting off the plane in Germany. That was the last I talked to him. He said he would text me when he got to New York. Nothing. So with it being Saturday, I'm pretty sure that we're at the option now where there's only 2 options. Either he's dead or he fucking decided this would be a big prank to just basically get my daughter's hopes way up and then dash them on the rocks by just fucking not doing it. But, I mean, it could be some other option. There might be something that has drastically happened, and I would love to say that I would love to think that that's the option, because the flip side is I really, really, really enjoyed all my interactions with this guy. So, I don't know what my daughter and wife were talking about. My wife just closed the door. I don't know why. So, yeah, no, that's where we're at. If it didn't cost you anything, not that big a deal. No, we were making plans. I had based plans upon him saying that because he was donating. You can say that's not a big deal, but he promised my daughter things, and he promised me things for my daughter, and it's not fair. She's 11 to do that to someone if that's what happened. So don't say it's not a big deal, because I will drastically disagree with you. Because in the long run, it is costing me something, because we could have gotten, not so much that it would have changed the price. The fact is, we were supposed to get her skate boots back around Christmas time. And he said, no, don't do it. I'll get them and I'll ship them to you. And then I had at that time we were going through the federal stuff. And so I had a bunch of stuff that I ordered that got sent back to other countries. And so then got lost and shit like that, and I was out money. So I didn't think anything of it when those boots got lost. But we could have easily gotten those boots months ago when we first decided she needed them. And then he was supposed to be here, and then my wife had set up an appointment to get blades mounted and shit like that. And we were like, yeah. Dude, you're missing the point, bro. And if that's the way you're gonna be on my channel, then I'm gonna tell you to stop. That's the whole point. I'm not drunk and depressed about it. I'm expressing it to you. I'm making a point. So, you know, it's not a matter of getting drunk and depressed about it. It's a matter of that's pretty fucked up. So, I don't want to get in an argument with someone on my channel. I'm not in the best of moods to begin with, and I'm an unpleasant person. How much are the boots? They're like, how much are the Edia ice flies? 800 and something? 800 and something dollars. You know what? I don't want to seem like a dick, but this, I'm putting you in timeout just simply because I don't want to say something that will offend you, because that's what's going to happen. So, and I mean, the reason is because it's really personal to me. So, I mean, but like I said, I don't know 100% what happened, but that's not the, we're talking about we were talking about the protos. So, I really like how they came out. They came out great. And so I don't know when they'll be released or things like that, but here's the flip side of this. You ready for this? I'm not going to Blade Show now. That's the one I forgot to tell you. Because he's the one that set up our lodging and our tickets for Blade Show. And so I have no confirmation of our tickets for Blade Show, and it is too late to go now, because what we had was he basically said that he was going to borrow a place that is a winter home for a good friend of his, and we could stay in Atlanta. It's not that far from the show, and he said he bought our tickets. But now that I can't verify any of that, I can't go, because there are no hotels available unless you want to ride in a taxi 45 minutes into Atlanta from outside of town. There's just no rooms. And the whole thing was, I could have swung tickets, plane tickets, but I couldn't afford lodging and tickets into the place. And he's like, well, don't worry about the tickets. I got the tickets into the show, and we got the house. And I'm like, okay, cool. The only thing I really got is all I got to pay is the plane ticket. And I was going to go home to see my mom after that. And now, because the money he was going to bring me, I was going to use for the trip to Atlanta, and I don't have it. So now I'm not going to get to see my mother. Not going to go home. I'm not going to get to the Blade Show in Atlanta, because that's where we're at. We had based this stuff on that, and that's why I'm saying back hurts. It's not just a matter of like, oh, you're not out on anything. No, I am. I'm out. The trip, I'm out. All that stuff, all that planning we did that we spent hours. It was a wash. So you guys see my point? And like I said, this channel is where this is my therapy, guys. I told you that. If you guys don't want to hear this, then my live feeds, that's what they're all about. Is because I enjoy talking to you guys, and you give me a little bit of clarity. And even though I'll probably look back on what you said, my back hurts, and say, you know, he's probably right. But the fact is, at the moment, you know, do I have $850 fucking for a set of boots? No. I'm worried about how we're gonna pay our mortgage here in a few months if this continues. So, you know, I mean, I know. It gets better, things swing and ebb and flow, but hopefully this will do well, and that will give me a little windfall. And I have two other designs. I have two other designs that I haven't even marketed to anyone but we. Because they had this one and I had the other two designs, and they said something about it. But I heard it from one person, then when I reached out to the person that I've been dealing with on the design for this, said that right now their production line is pretty full, and so they need to digest that other stuff before they start trying to. And so Jakob and I were gonna do was, we were gonna do the OEM. He was gonna pay for production and materials, and then we were gonna pay that back to him and then make that other stuff. There are other places that I could market that design to, the sea snake. There's React, and there's Reich, and there's other knife companies that do make knives and fixed blades. And then there's places like Larkin, but Larkin does OEM, and I would basically have to pay to get them made, and then market them myself. I can't do that. I need the marketing power of a company. But there's a flip side too. I haven't done it, and I'm gonna kind of keep it a secret. There's another avenue I have available to me. I know a couple people that might be able to make it happen for me. So we'll see. we'll see how it goes. You know, it's just a matter I've got to do something in the interim to fill that gap, which was what he had promised. And that's why I'm upset, is filling that gap. You know, when you promise somebody something and they've hedged bets on it and they expect it. But I mean, I keep dwelling on it, but I hedged my bets on this. We're in the process of selling a big piece of property back home, and she said she's gonna basically take it out of my inheritance, which I didn't ever think I'd get one anyway. We grew up poor. So, but what are you guys all up to? What's everybody doing on this fine Saturday? I'm just gonna draw this out so I can keep bothering my wife. She's trying to watch Japanese TV. Everybody's watching you. Drinking whiskey. That'd be great. That would be great. Drinking whiskey. So, oh, I know what I have to pay too. Sharpening a griptilian. And a falcon. Oh, I have, you know what's cool? We're gonna open this because I know what's in here. So, it's always cool when something like this happens. So what do we got here in this box? Let's open it up, take a look. Now I know what's in here. Hey, Jason, what's going on? I talked to Nico earlier. Hi, man, I appreciate, thank you. And I hope you don't, like, I put loading mags, my kind of guy. I remember working at the range. I spent so much time. We would race to see who could load 9mm mags the fastest. I got big hands, and I was a gunner's mate, and I fucking just get that shit. And go! And because everybody got a certain number of magazines. I think you had 48 rounds total. Okay, so this is the cool part. I did this knife for another guy. And I did it exactly the way he wanted it. And then it comes back to me from another guy who had tried to take some hot spots off, and I'm gonna have to do all of this. But so I did this green and black wing. Well, then he bought it from somebody else, and then he did a little bit of trying to do some stuff, and then took some of the anodizing off there and back here. And he's asking me if I can redo it. And then the guy, okay. Wow, the blade on that is really loose. So the guy that I got it, that had me do it, he didn't want me to straighten the lock bar, detension the lock bar. And so when you detension a lock bar and you bring it back, you can screw with the lock bar tension because you're never gonna get it just perfect. And then, so there was a spot here where when I tumbled it, some of the black stayed. And then he sold this knife, but the whole point was I was trying to keep the black in the logo, the blacks in the lines. And so what I'm doing is, the guy likes this so much. Listen to that. The guy likes it so much that he wants me to refinish it exactly like it was before, just like that. He wants me to redo that. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool that my work is appreciated enough by two people that they both want the same thing. But this guy wants it perfect. But this blade is so loose, that pivot is so loose. And I'm afraid, oh, I know why. I know why. There's a set of bearings missing out of this knife. I do believe that there's a set of bearings that are not in there because either that or that's a different set of bearings. Nope. It's been assembled improperly. And I don't have my tools to take it apart, so I need to get Matt to bring those over. But I'm taking the dog to his house tonight, so it's a good chance that I'll pick him up while I'm there. So, did you guys, you guys been watching Blade Banner? I know I've been watching some of his videos that have come up. David, I watch a lot of your videos. I just don't comment in them. Probably should. Not as often. So let me see. I am gonna try and shoot a video here in a little bit, like I said, of the LFK, the large folding knife by Benchmade. It's actually pretty interesting, and I don't think it's gonna be a long video. It's not like I'm gonna give it a, it's unique. A lot of times I don't, like, there's not much I have to comment about. The only one that I had to comment about was, I was curious to see how the KPL stood up long-term against mineral oil, which I think mineral oil is not gonna have the lubricity over a long period of time that the KPL will, because it was designed that way. So, but yeah, let's see. Anything else going on, guys? Yeah, I mean, mineral, I've seen guys use WD-40 and like spray their, I'm like, God, guys, I will use WD-40 to clean out a knife that's really bad. I'm not gonna lie. Because it does a good job cutting through that grit and grime and nastiness, and I just basically use it like, the other thing that works really good, if it's not like composite or plastic handles, jet spray gum out. If you got an all metal handle, that jet spray brake cleaner, the gum out brake cleaner, it works amazing at cleaning them. That's how I clean out autos. I screw out the glass breaker on everybody's like, oh, I put a spa treatment on a Microtech Ultratech, it's really expensive. And I was like, actually, it's way cheaper on an Ultratech than it is on other autos. Because you can just unscrew the back and spray it down through the hole and clean it, and then just put the back on, put a couple drops of rem oil down in it, and then Bob's your uncle. The knife is clean as shit. So I usually don't charge very much. I don't have any jet spray right now. What was this? What's Nick got going on? I hung out with Nick the other day. He was at the shop. He lives in San Diego now. Would contact cement protect those areas and tell me you want to save, I wonder. Okay, so these areas that are black, I didn't mask at all. What I did was, since they're so thin, I used a large enough tumble medium that it only stripped the ceramic off the tops and left the black where I wanted it. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I did. I'm gonna have to redo the hardware on this. The hardware on this was all done yellow. I did yellow hardware, and he's worn the yellow ceramic off of it. So, but to do other areas that you want masked, rubber cement won't do it, and it's harder to get off. So there's this stuff you can get called liquid tape. That's basically liquid electrical tape. And then you basically just mask that off, let it dry, it stays on there, and you can blast areas around it and stuff like that. It works really well. I use that a lot for masking off stuff. Was somebody asking about KME? Best sharpening kit for a beginner? Yeah, I would say the KME would probably be good. Yeah, yes. The Edge Pro Matrix, the 4000 grit, I just got one. David, the guy that makes them.
Are you able to do it?
Guys, I don't know what's going on. My phone just did something. I'm trying to clear it. I just sent you the password. I just sent it to you. Are you good? Okay. So my kid's trying to get connected to Wi-Fi. Or something's up with our Wi-Fi. It's not, like I said, it's not the Wi-Fi per se. You might just have too much stuff open and might need to just turn your phone on and off and reset it.
I turned it all the way off and then it lost complete Wi-Fi. That's why I had it.
Huh. But like I said, I don't like the Spyderco Sharp Maker. I don't, and I'll tell you why. There's inconsistency in that, which I'm fine with. I freehand sharpen. It's the inconsistency in the stones. They rattle, and if you get a wavy edge when you use the corners like they recommend, then the flats doesn't have enough cutting potential to smooth those out. It's more that it's limited in grit and the stones flex in the holder. That's what I would say, because you only have really 3 grits. You got medium, fine, ultra fine, if you want to get the diamond ones, but it's not like you can do any reprofiling on that. It's just, none of it is, I had one, I gave it to my best friend Clint, because it's just something he needed. Like, he was like, hey, you got anything? Like, I can't send you knives all the way from Missouri, it's expensive. He's like, you got anything I can use to maintain some of these edges on some of my cheaper knives. I was like, yeah, sure. And then he said he would send me the expensive knife I got for him. I got him a Sebenza, the large Sebenza 25 when they still sold them. I got him one of those on the secondary market, pretty cheap. It was pretty used, and then I was like, they're sharp. Those neckers are no joke, Robert. I call it crazy sharp for a reason. No, I got him. Like him, but he didn't like the 21, and so I cut the difference, and he had handled one when I had in him for sharpening. He goes, oh, I really like that. And so I found one on the secondary market for next to nothing and got it for him, and then refinished it. I did all the refinishing, sandblasting, and cleaned up all the hardware, and refinished the blade, and then sharpened it and gave it to him as a birthday present. Birthday or Christmas, I can't remember what it was. So that's the one that he probably would be sending to me for sharpening from Missouri. Guys, I'm probably gonna get off of here and shoot the video about this LFK. What do you guys think about that? So I'm probably just gonna put it up, probably not gonna do a premiere. I may, who knows? It just depends how long it takes for the video to load. With my Wi-Fi being kind of wonky like it is, I'll probably save it to my computer and then upload it. But I'm probably not gonna change the music. Some of you guys said you like the techno music for my actual intro that I always use, as opposed to replacing it with YouTube's music. So that's probably what I'm gonna do. I'm probably gonna get this all set up for a video and do the LFK. It keeps my mind off of stuff. It really does. Probably driving my wife nuts because she's trying to watch TV. Let's see. Let's ask her. Hey, Yuka, does it bother you when I do a video out here in the kitchen? Is that a yes? Is that yes or no? Everybody's looking at you waiting for an answer. She told me I'm too loud. All right, guys. That's the end of this. Like I said, stand by. I'll shoot a video. I'll probably do it out there so I'm not bothering her so much, or I'll do it quietly in here of the LFK by Benchmade. So stand by for that. It'll be up later today. All right, guys, take it easy. Oh, tomorrow's the daughter's ice skating. I will get the video for that put up as soon as I get it edited. And then if you guys don't follow my daughter's channel, you should go find it. It's Isabel Emler's skating journey. Ice skating journey. There's only like 8 videos up, but I promise they will start sending me practice videos so I can start combining some of that so you can see the actual journey, not just the competitions. And I'm gonna get her to talk about her skating more because that's what's gonna allow me to attract a sponsor, is somebody that can speak intelligently like she can. She's incredibly intelligent, and so for her to be able to do that in a video, that's gonna be more enticing to sponsors.